Of Kansas, the heartland. The courts just ruled that Kansas must stop changing trans people's sex listing on driver's licenses.
That's right. Trans people in Kansas can no longer just decide on a whim what gender they feel like they are that day and change it on state forms any longer, because the Attorney General, Chris Kobach, brought this lawsuit and is battling back against the radical trans agenda. And he joins us now. Attorney General, it's an honor to have you on the show. You and I, back in the day, I have to tell our audience because this is amazing and I want to keep her memory alive. We lobbied alongside Phyllis Schlafly in the U.S. Capitol, and that was just a few drinks ago, don't you think?
Yeah, Phyllis was such an amazing warrior for our Constitution and for so many causes, but all ultimately tied to the Constitution and preserving the American foundation and our bedrock of life. So anyway, yeah, kudos once again to Phyllis Schlafly, and may her memory live long.
Well, apparently it is, because you're doing great things. Tell us what you're doing out there.
Well, as you were mentioning in your intro, we had to sue the governor. My office had to sue the governor of Kansas. She's a Democrat. And our legislature passed a common sense bill that simply said we're not changing driver's licenses or birth certificates to reflect people's chosen identities. Those are factual documents created by the state to reflect sex at birth. And she vetoed it, but the Republican legislature overrode her veto. And then she said, okay, well, nothing's going to change. We're not going to change the way we deal with birth certificates and licenses. In other words, saying she wouldn't enforce it. And that's when my office stepped in and sued her. And, it's pretty astonishing that you have to take a governor to court or take her administration to court to get them to follow the law. But unfortunately, that's where we are today. And the judge rendered a great decision. And of course, the case continues. But the law says it very clearly in black and white that the government agencies have to record sex as sex at birth, and that you cannot change things to reflect something else. And in the legislature, it made perfect sense. A birth certificate is a certification. It's a certification of a historical thing. And every one of us was part of a historical event when we were born. Mm-hmm. And that certifies that on that day you were born, you weighed a certain amount, you were a certain sex, and your mother was a certain name. All of these things are just facts. And the idea that the state has to change factual history to accommodate people is astonishing. So anyway, we're fighting, and of course that particular case was about driver's licenses, where once again this is a state document for state purposes. The idea that people can just change their driver's license to reflect some vision of themselves is incorrect.